Pecora didn't tell her parents what she was doing at all until she hit 1 million subscribers. And then on her 1 million subscriber stream, she brought her mom on and told her what she does. And they loved it so much that about 2 years later, actually like last year, they gave her a full-blown VTuber model.
That's very cute.
And when I tell you the fan art that came out of that stream.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tell Me About, the show where I don't know much and I get people who do to tell me about it. Today is a very special episode because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, I've spent a lot of time lately playing the game HoloCure. And as a person who knows absolutely nothing about Hololive, playing the game has been an experience. I've been trying to figure out what every character's about. Sometimes I'm very confused. Sometimes I'm extremely amused. And a lot of the time I'm just like, what? And so I've brought in a ringer today, someone to guide me down this path to learn a little bit more about Hololive. Coefficient, welcome to the show.
How you doing, bud? I appreciate you asking me to be on here.
I'm so thrilled you're here because everyone was like, that's the guy to talk to. And so having you here is really special.
I appreciate that. No, a lot of people were contacting me to guide you down this little rabbit hole. We like to call it the rabbit hole because it really truly is a rabbit hole. But I'm glad that the thing that caught your attention to this rabbit hole was HoloCure, because this game is a work of art. It's a work of love and labor, and the developer is so good, and he did such a great job. And it always baffles me when I hear that he made this whole thing for free and he doesn't want any payment, no money. People try to give him money and he says every time, no, I don't want money. I just want to make a cool game with cool characters.
That's amazing. And as a person who has just really started to delve into the sort of Vampire Survivor style game, this was the one that got me. I've played many. Even Vampire Survivor, I played many. This is the one I was like, yo, I love this. And I think it's because, one, music is on point. Two, every character's abilities are super fun. And three, I think it's just like kind of goofy, wholesome in a way that I was not expecting. And it got me. But also because I don't know a damn thing about what's happening on screen, it's even more entertaining because every moment is something unexpected.
Mm-hmm. And I will start off by saying, so when it comes to this game and the characters, we like to call them either like talents or just the VTubers. The talents are usually my go-to word. Which are the characters that you have played the most?
The characters I've played the most, talents. I'm going to stick with you on talents for this. I feel like that is respectable.
Go for it.
Obviously, on screen right now, Amelia, I like the little doggo. I like the whole idea of being a kind of detective-esque character. Very fun.
Good.
Shark Girl is fun.
Yeah.
Love that.
There's the Shark Girl.
Big fan of her. Obviously, my tentacle demon mommy. Big fan. Love playing
you
as
like
her.
Ina, huh? Okay.
Yes, that's super fun. There is a squirrel girl who shoots nuts at people.
Yeah, we're talking about Risu here. Yeah.
There is an undead girl. I think you just passed her.
Ollie.
Super fun to play as. And there's also a Reaper who I've been told by people in chat is also a rapper, which is a whole thing. And I think it's very punny and I'm here for it. And then some sort of goddess character that I can't remember she literally just shoots moons at people.
Oh, so there's a couple of goddess type characters. There's Muna. There's
like
Iris.
a moon that circles around her.
Oh, you're probably talking about Sana.
Yes, that's who I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah, you're probably talking about Sana, yes. So there's a couple things that I do have to preface for this.
Please do.
A couple things is, one, in the VTuber community, in the space, there is this concept of an Oshi. Do you know what an Oshi is?
I do not.
An Oshi, think of it like this. I'm not going to go into the exact definition, but just think of it like this. It's your favorite VTuber.
Okay.
It's your favorite. It's like think of it like as you're a stand for this specific VTuber. So that's kind of how it is.
This would be something akin to when people talk about their favorite K-pop band and they say it's my bias. This person's my bias, that kind of thing.
I'm not into K-pop or anything, but I'm going to say yes.
You know what? I hope that's correct because it sounds correct in my head. And I'm going to go with that.
So with these, let's say out of all of these, there's a lot of people like the person that watches a lot of Amelia. Like Amelia's my Oshi. She's my favorite. Like I'm pretty sure you are a lot of people's Oshi.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
A lot of people love you so much that they go to your stream, they watch your content. You are their Oshi. If you want the exact definition, let me look it up here. Because to be honest with you, I'm not. I think it's an idol term specifically.
So
in
a lot
Japan.
of right idol culture stuff. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's based. What it says here. I'm straight from Google. It's a person or fictional character that receives your love, full love and support.
Okay.
Makes you a super fan. That's what that is. So there's that. There's also another term, kind of similar, kind of branching off of that, called a Kami Oshi, which is your end all be all. You can have multiple Oshis if you want. But your Kami Oshi is your end all be all. Your Kami is God. And your Oshi is the character. So it's like your end all be all character. So you can like this character, this character, this character, this character. But your favorite one is Tentacle Goddess.
Honestly, if I'm being real, it's less about their look, their vibe, their ability, and more about does their attack in game do an arc big enough where I feel like I'm killing everything on the screen. That's really what it is at the end of the day. And so
gameplay perspective,
yeah, one of her abilities is the tentacles come out and then they come from another direction. I just think that's very cool. But also, the Moon Girl is just eventually it's completely around her, and I love a good 360 attack. That's how I feel in most games. It always starts weak, and by the end you're like, I'm God here.
I will also say that there are some. So these are actual content creators and people.
Right.
That are currently doing. That's like one of the biggest differences between most games and this game is that these are legit people you can go see like on stream right now, which makes it very unique in that regard. One of the things I do have to tell you is that in VTubing space, especially in Hololive, there is a concept of them not doing this job anymore. It's called a graduation.
Graduation, yes. That I do know about. Yes.
Yeah, you know about that? Okay. There's a couple of these characters that have graduated. They're no longer here. They're no longer this persona. One of them, only one of them here, was graduated before this game came out. And that was my favorite one. That my Oshi graduated before this game came out. But she recently came out, and the developer put her in anyway. Because she was a huge impact in the VTubing space, actually for the West, for English VTubing. She was a huge impact, and that's Kiryu Coco, this girl. That was my Oshi, just to let you know who my Oshi was. And I don't have an Oshi. That's my thing. I like too many people, and I can't just narrow it down to one.
I don't know. I see that G rank 30, and I feel like that might be your highest one too. So, just saying.
All of them. There's
never mind. 39. Never mind. We good.
So there's a lot of the characters here that aren't doing this anymore. One of them is Amelia. Amelia just barely recently graduated.
So what is that? So graduation, besides not being affiliated with Hololive anymore, what then happens? Like, just as like an outside casual observer, when I hear the character graduated, it has that kind of connotation of those old horror stories where it's like, you've won the lottery, but the lottery's death. You know what I mean? And so it's like they've been graduated and you'll never see them again. And it has this ring to it, but I assume they're off doing whatever it is they do. But is that they go and stream other things, or they're like, you know what, I'm done streaming? Or is it different for everyone?
So graduation usually means, think of it like this. Think of it as there's a voice actor for a character. That voice actor is no longer doing that character.
Gotcha.
So the persona behind that character, because all these characters are owned by Hololive.
Right.
The agency that they're a part of. So when the person behind that persona no longer wants to do it anymore for whatever reason, they stop doing it. And there's another concept as well, which is called reincarnations. And reincarnations is basically either their past life before they were this character, or a new one. And they continue their activities or whatever. Some of them haven't continued activities, but some of them have. When it comes to graduations and reincarnations, there is a thing where usually with these talents, they don't like to, while they're active, they don't like them, or even after or beforehand, they don't like to talk about like any other lives, because there might be some of these that people do know them previously as somebody else, but they don't discuss that at all. That's usually a little taboo.
Right.
When it comes to like past life stuff and things like that. But when it comes to the graduation, they usually, they leave that persona. The basic concept is they leave that persona to go pursue other things as either another VTuber, or they have other life stuff that they have to take care of, or et cetera, et cetera.
So it'd be a faux pas for me to show up and say, if Amelia went on to do a different character, show up and be like, yo, I loved you when you were this.
Oh, yeah, that's a faux pas for sure. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
It's usually very tongue-in-cheek, like different maybe little references here and there, but usually it's outside of the space.
Right. I assume chat would tell me immediately, like, yo, don't do that.
Oh, yeah. And people they're pretty nice about it sometimes when it's like people don't know. It's like, okay. And they'll let you know. But to give you a little bit of a preface, some of these girls are not are not active anymore. There is a thing though, where like Amelia, for example, where they're still affiliates, but we call it like a soft graduation, where they're not actively that character, but they're still affiliated, meaning that they could potentially come back or be seen in Hololive Media.
Gotcha.
But they're just not piloting that character. So Amelia's
Cameos
the
and
first
whatnot.
one. Yeah, exactly. But there's talents like Sana, who they're just fully graduated. They're not even affiliated. Just wanted to get that out of the way. It's not super important, but... So Hololive started off as kind of like a brief history. The CEO of the company, Yago, we call him Yago, which is actually the guy that spawns in the middle of the map, and he runs around, drops stamps and coin, the golden guy.
Yeah, the poor golden man that I murder every time. Yes.
Exactly, that's him. That's Yago. Back in the day, when he first started this whole thing, he said he wanted to have something similar to like an idol group. I think it's called AK-48. Which is an idol group in Japan. And he started off with the first VTuber concept, like a VTuber idol, like a virtual idol, which was the first one out of all these girls. And she's in here. There she is. Her name is Toki no Sora. She is Gen 0. She is the first one out of all of them to start in Hololive. And then it grew from there. They started introducing generations.
Yes, I'd love to know more about this, because in HoloCure, they have, when you go to sort of, I don't want to say gamble, but like gotcha the different characters, there's various generations listed, and they're all over the place. I'm like, what's that mean? And what's that about? And so, yeah, this is great for me.
So this is all the generations, all the different members, including the ones that have graduated from the wiki. But there's before we get into that, I do want to tell you that there are 6 branches of Hololive. Okay.
My goodness. Okay.
So there is, it's not too hard to understand. It's main branch of Hololive, which is the Japanese VTubers.
Okay.
Then there's Hololive Indonesia, which is actually the Squirrel Girl and the Zombie Girl. They're from there.
Amazing.
Then you have Hololive English, which is the Amelia and Ina and Gura, which is the Shark Girl. And then there's another one, which is more of a like music oriented that just recently debuted, like not too long ago. Is Hololive Device. All right. So that's the 4 main branches that you'll probably be seeing and hearing a lot of.
Okay.
Then you have the boys, which is Holo Stars. So there's the male division.
Let's see if I feel like this is the best way I can think of describing creation of talent.
Sure.
To me, it feels very similar to when people make a D&D character. You start out, you sort of form what you're going to be, you make this long, intricate backstory, you have your abilities, you have things that obviously go with the talents that you have naturally, and it's that kind of vibe. It's what I think, and I imagine that's the same case when it comes to the male side of things.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much on the nose with and including with the male side. They usually, with different generations or different waves of VTubers, they introduce a concept, and then they kind of like. They usually, because it's an agency. Now, when you're an independent VTuber, you can be whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
But with agencies, there usually is a theme that they're going for, and then they kind of like let you pick with that theme. Like, for example, let's just go ahead and let's do Hololive English.
Okay.
Because this is probably one of the biggest divisions because they're huge. Mm-hmm. So this is all of them. The first generation, the first ever debut back in 2020, they debuted and they've blown up ever since. The first wave, which is 5 people, now currently 4, is called Hololive Myth. That's the theme of their generation. And they are essentially like beings, like these eldritch beings. So you have Gargura, which is a shark girl from like Atlantis and whatever the lore is there. Very basic. Ina is an eldritch a girl that has this book of the ancient ones, and the eldritch being, the tentacles and stuff, comes from this book that she has with her. So she's like an eldritch being. Kiara, she's a phoenix. She can't die. That's like her thing. And then Calliope is death, or death's assistant, or death's apprentice. That's kind of like so it's like mythical beings. Okay. That's the theme of this one. The joke was when they first debuted, you have like this apex predator shark, you have this eldritch being, you have this mythical creature, and this concept of death, and then you have a detective.
Sure.
That's like the meme. It's like, okay, she's just a detective that makes up some.
Someone's got to figure out what it all means. Yeah,
exactly right. Mm-hmm. So over time, the lore doesn't usually stem from what they initially want the lore to be. The lore usually develops through their affiliation with their content. So over time, Amelia turned from like a doctor-ish, detective-ish type of smart person to a time-traveling detective.
So again, I think this goes back to my D&D thing of no matter what you say your character is when you first start, it really is about the party, the group, the story you tell. And by the end, you're entirely different than what you thought you were going to be at the beginning. Correct.
So that plays into a lot of the HoloCure stuff, because a lot of the HoloCure references are a lot of references to their content that they have made, and the clips that have and the memes that have generated through the years.
Right.
So a lot of people that were there during that moment, they're like, oh my God, I remember that. Holy crap. So that's like a big thing with HoloCure. You hit it right on the nose with the D&D character. When it comes to the characters themselves, it's just the story kind of unfolds on its own as like a D&D character. So yeah.
So going back to the big list of everyone, when it comes to, and I only ask this for selfish reasons.
Go for it.
The guys, I noticed that when you show the list of all the various women characters, talent. I'm going to keep saying character, but I feel like that's disrespectful. But we'll say talent.
No, you can say characters too. That's fine. It's not disrespect. But as it makes sense to you because you are first exposing yourself to these people as characters
in a game. So when it comes to all of the talent, and especially female talent, you see that it's I don't want to say tropey, but the anime idol character, right? And I assume the guys are the same. My question is there room in the future for another generation of just complete uggos? I'm talking like some dude named Gringus, who's green, has like one eye and a hump, and he's like, hey, welcome. Like, when does that happen? And is that something that's already in there, or is it usually it's designed around making very sort of lovable characters that you can fan over,
That's funny how you mentioned that, because there's already kind of a guy that does that. His name is Oga from Hollow Stars. I don't know if... Yeah, so there's already people...
He still classifies as handsome. I'm talking...
Oh, yeah.
Make him 2 feet tall, green, perfectly round, has one jagged teeth, tooth, has like a one eye bigger than the other eye. Ugly, but
so
in a
you want him
cute
to be...
way.
Quote unquote cute.
Yeah, this so ugly it's cute, that kind of character.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't think if they do, that would surprise me. But yeah, I think it mostly leans into more idol type of handsome. Gotcha. I will say that a lot of these people, a lot of these talents, they look handsome and they act handsome and stuff. But some of these guys, especially the English side, they're like complete bros. Absolute, like some of these are meatheads. Some of them, you have all sorts of dudes here. All right, you have like the ikemen, like handsome, or like the you have the goofballs. You have the deep voices. You have some crazy You also have some crazy people here. So you have all sorts of people. But yeah, no, in terms of looks, probably not.
I mean, I think that's why it's so successful, because it falls back on one of my favorite things, and I always say this, something's going to do well when there's something for everyone. You can have that person who you are so in love with, and they might be totally different from someone else's favorite. And that's what makes it so special, is because then those communities can interact and everyone can talk, and you can, gush about the one you love and then be like, oh, well, that other one, I don't know. And they're like, what'd you say about mine? And I get that, and I understand why it's so popular.
Oh, I actually have a direct, event that happened with me. When I first was getting into this rabbit hole, there was somebody that I kind of was like, I don't know if I like them, and boy, when I told you that the fleet of people that came after me and said, I don't know why you said this, I don't know why you said that, it was insane. So yeah, no, you're right. If you, when it comes to the talents and stuff, some of them are very but mine's better. But at the same time, they're all loving to each other.
Yeah, it's preference. I totally get it. Yeah,
it's all preference. Mm-hmm.
Especially considering,
but it's all in a joking manner. It's very fun.
Yeah, it's kind of what you're interested in, right? Just like any other streamer or any other content creator or actor or whatever, even video game, movie, breakfast cereal, everything is preference, and it's what you like best. So yeah, I could be like, dude, Kix rule. And you'd be like, Kix, that's trash cereal. I'm all about cornflakes. I get it. I understand it's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some of them ride for everybody. Some of them ride for just what, some of these fandoms are just ride or die. Sure. I met them at conventions. I met them in person. Some of them have traumatized me, but it's all in good fun. It's all a good time. It's all bonding through these content creators, aka VTubers, which is very, very cool.
So I imagine that just like everyone else who's streaming, the content they're creating is along those lines. But obviously, this is something bigger than just a person who is streaming. This is a whole community and ecosystem where you were saying, went to a convention. I imagine they do live performances of different things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They go around. So what is that? That's a whole other level that I am not, this I understand. The game I get, the character creation I get, the idea of the talent hosting their streams and creating communities and, doing collaborations with each other. I get all that. That makes perfect sense to me. When it comes to Hololive as a franchise, as an experience, where does that go? It seems like it is kind of beyond anything I would have thought of as just, a guy streaming on the internet.
Yeah, no, everything that they do is all connected in a certain way, and it's all kind of within their own bubble. Think of it kind of I guess I can make a reference to an analogy to make it easier to understand. It's kind of like Disney, Okay. It's within the Disney bubble. You have different, Marvel characters, the MCU. You have different characters, but they all kind of are connected in a world or in a lore standpoint, right? So that's kind of how they operate. Is a lot of the stuff that they do together, and they do big, huge events and stuff. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and go into some basic, surface level questions. Who in this whole roster are you most interested in learning about? I imagine you went through it, and it's who seems interesting? Who's because of how they play or how they look?
Well, I mean,
who do you want to start with?
I have a question for you about this, because when you said MCU and you're talking about Marvel stuff, one of the things that I'm curious about is, so if they're doing live performances, first off, what is that even like? First, I guess that's the first question. But more importantly, when you bring up the idea of seeing the different characters, I will say, VTubing in general, I get the idea of, I get the concept. I've seen it in action. I will never forget being at an event and seeing Iron Mouse wheel around in a little robot scooter thing. It was very interesting. So it's just...
She does do that.
Yeah, it was just her face and going around looking at it. And I was like, that's very, very cute. I love how this works. And seeing people be so excited to see her was... I get it. I get VTubing.
It's a big meme to say, air quotes, idols. Because really, they are, air quotes, comedians.
Right.
That's what they are.
Entertainers. Yeah.
If you really want to get into another rabbit hole, which is a rabbit hole that a lot of people fall into, is the clips.
I was about to say, I've seen a lot of shorts on YouTube. I've seen some very funny clips online. Yeah, I have no context, But funny is funny no matter how you cut it into clips. It's always funny.
Yeah, and if you're in the Hololive fandom, having the context of who they are and how they operate and kind of how their personality is, and then when they interact with others, and you see both these personalities clash in a way, it makes for some hilarious moments. So back to my question: is there any character here?
What is the live thing? I was all over the place with my question. I apologize for that. But the live stuff, I'm very curious how that works. And if you go to an event, what is that like? Okay,
I have been to an event. There was one for Hololive English, actually. It was, they have concerts. They very much, so Hololive prides themselves as being a tech company. They innovate they've been innovating like crazy, the tech and concert space for live events. The Hololive, or covers the parent company. Hololive is kind of the daughter or the sister. I can't remember what it is, but it covers the overarching company that's in charge of it. So they have invested a lot into equipment, so you can do some crazy concerts. Have you ever seen the Grand Blue Fantasy festivals?
No.
At all? Okay.
No.
Don't worry about that. That's probably another episode for you and your show.
I'm about to go down that rabbit hole now.
Do you know about Hatsune Miku?
Yes, I was actually just thinking, is it similar to that kind of concert style?
It's when you go to a concert, it's a virtual avatar, but it's them. They have invested so much money and they've invested into new offices in Japan that when they hold concerts, it is a full 3D rigging. And they also have people at home in mind, so they videotape it, and it seems like they're actually on a stage. Can I show you an example?
I would love to see an example.
I will show you one of the most extreme examples, and probably one that you've seen on Twitter, because one of them was nominated for Best Content Creator of the Year. Do you know about that at all?
I believe I do.
So one of the Hololive girls here was nominated for Best Content Creator of the Year at the Game Awards.
Yep.
And that was Pecora, this girl. Currently, the number one female streamer on Twitch and YouTube. Okay. She is quite the character. She is hilarious. I will tell you right now, without any context, she is a lot of people love her, including big voice actors and Kojima. Pecora is Kojima's Oshi.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Kojima loves Pecora. Loves her. She's super funny. She's super great. And without any context, I'm going to say I really like her mom too. She's great.
Awesome.
Let me go ahead and give you some context here. So they do concerts. There was one here for Hololive English that I went to in California at the YouTube Theater. And they did one in New York recently. The first one that I went to was with Myth and Council, which is the second generation. And then the second one that just occurred, which is called Soaring in New York City, included Hololive Advents, which is the third generation.
So just for clarity's sake, these would be songs that they have created that it's not necessarily character based around the lore of it's just songs for the sake of songs that are good songs is what you're saying.
They are songwriters. They do a lot of covers, they do a lot of original songs because it's still kind of rooted in the idol stuff, so they still make songs, they sing, they entertain, they dance. Some of these are great, fantastic dancers, and some of them have made some crazy hits. Anyways, let me go ahead and show you this. So this is a concert that Pecora did. Sold out completely. Huge stadium. This is usually what's called what is it? What is it when you get like into a cult?
Initiation?
Do you know the word? Initiation. This is usually the initiation into what's called the Usagis, which is her fandom. Super cute, but this is her, Rabbit, Pecora. She has a really fun voice, but this is how she is. If you can hear this,
whoa, that is a lot of people.
Yeah, this is the scale of what these girls can pull. And this is her actually performing. This is one of her like more audience including ones. They write all sorts of music, but this one's definitely made for like live events. So it's a little bit more crazy.
That's so many people.
Yep. Sold out every time.
I'm happy if I sell out a 250 person room. I'm looking at this like, bro.
Yeah, this is the caliber.
So what is...
You just...
I'm seeing her move across stage like that. What is the background going on there? Because it seems like there would be... Like, where are they performing from? And then I guess how much space they have to mess around with.
Yeah, so this is the genius of what they do. The technology is super. This is one of the things I'm mostly impressed with and very interested in, is the technology that they put into this. They invested a lot. Like I said, they're a tech company.
Yeah.
So what you see here is a screen. If you're live, it's a screen. And the background is very 3D-ified. So you get to see her, but in a screen. The actual actress behind it, or the person that's behind the persona, is either... I'm not sure about this. I don't know if they... televise it from their headquarters, which is in Japan. This is in Japan, by the way.
Right.
So they broadcast it from their headquarters because they have a whole bunch of different gear to be able to make this possible. They have full rigging suits. They have all sorts of huge rooms, green screen rooms, rigging rooms, full body motion suits, all that stuff. And they broadcast it to this concert live. So they still perform. It's just kind of like remote. If you're there, you see a screen with all the stuff, right?
But there's the optical illusion of them being on stage.
There. That's right. They have the optical illusion of them being there. And then on screen, when you're watching it from a video feed or something, you get the illusion of a lot of angles to make it seem like the stage is actually there.
Right.
So this is what the technology aspect comes from. Like, they've innovated it and they've perfected it. And so like this right here, this is a pretty good angle.
Yeah. Right so there. It looks like it is completely a live thing.
Yeah, you see the stage right here. You see the stage, and then you see like the backdrop, which is like a really fun, like Pecora themed backdrop. And then you have the screen kind of behind it, and she kind of goes around the screen and stuff like that, and she talks to the people. It's still like a live concert.
Right.
Just done differently.
Sure.
So that's kind of how the scale of these concerts or these live performances go. It's very fun, and everyone's there having a great time. First, when I went to I actually posted a vlog about it, but I went to the first one, and I saw a lot of people there with their, with their glow sticks and their outfits and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I had never been to a concert like this before in my life. So going to this was like out of place for me. But when I started to get into it, you kind of like get lost in the hype.
Sure.
Because everyone's there just having a good time and singing their songs, and everyone's performing. And it's just a good time. Which is weird to say, because I go from like just watching a stream from home to seeing them in a concert.
Right.
It's kind of like I'm still kind of like developing that in my brain. It still doesn't really function. Like I can't process it clearly because it still kind of baffles me that I'm like, it's like seeing like Moist Critical go up and do a concert selling out a bunch of stuff. Like it just doesn't compute to me because I just see him as a funny man on my screen.
It seems even more of a stretch, because it's like I see a streamer, I know that's a person, and I know if I saw them in real life, it'd be weird to see them in real life, but I know they exist as a person. This is a shark girl dancing on stage, and you're like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe I'm watching this right now, and it has to be a whole experience, because again, I think the technology is pretty amazing, and you can see all the work that went into it, and then to watch it happen in real life, it's like, is the future here? Are we in a holodeck right now? What is happening?
Right?
I am very curious when it comes to those live performances. Has there ever been like a catastrophe? So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they're broadcasting from somewhere else. Has there ever been a moment where it all just cut off?
No. Not yet, thank goodness. But, you never know with technology, really. They try to, if any difficulties happen, I mean, God forbid something happened in the middle of a performance. But if anything were to happen, I would think they would, like, delay it, or they cancel it, they move it to another time.
Sure.
I'm not, but nothing has happened.
Yeah, I bet.
This is all still very new.
Yeah, I bet fans would be understanding. I'm just really curious what would happen based on the whole process. If, say, for example, you have someone, of course, dancing on stage, doing a thing, and then the connection cuts out? Would it just be black screen, or would it be suddenly cute character just slumps over and nothing happens? You know what I mean? Either way, it will be jarring.
It would be. That hasn't happened yet, but every one of like that performance, a lot of the performances, if they're live, I'll tell you this. If they're live, they're in Japan. So usually there's a lot more control with that. The one that I went to in California, you could tell it was mostly pre-recorded. A lot of the concert was. The crowd work isn't as prominent as, let's say, the one in Japan.
For most of these, various talents that are from the English side of things, are they also in Japan?
Yeah, they travel to Japan all the time. Some of them live in Japan. Some of them, I imagine, on visas or they move there. We had some recently. Some of the talents moved there. They announced there was a big thing. And some of them are in their respective homes, and they're from all over the place. But if they want to do something with their 3D models, because they have so in the VTuber stuff, they have the 2D models, which is the ones that you see in clips and stuff, and pretty easy with what you used when you did your whole VTuber thing.
Yeah. And
then there's the 3D models where they use like actual full motion and you can move around. They require you to be there at the studios to use that technology.
Wow.
Yeah, they go to Japan all the time.
What would you say, I mean, having been to a live performance and having spent time in this community, what would you say is sort of the age range for fans of Hololive?
I've seen kids. I've seen people as old as like 40 plus.
Okay.
So there's all sorts of people, but the majority of them are usually like, my concept middle is like 20s to 30s.
Sure.
Around there. So that's usually like the age range that I see. So the age range is all over the place, but the majority is probably from like 20 to 30.
Yeah, I would assume this is kind of like a Gen Z thing, mostly because I know for a fact my parents, who are very boomers, would not even remotely understand. Because when I think about it conceptually, the idea of it is a person playing a character as a talent doing things that you could normally do. And I don't know that, when I talk to my parents, for example, I know their first question would be like, what are they hiding from? Why don't they show their face? I know exactly what they would say. And then I think as you start to get into like millennial life, for me, the idea of, okay, I grew up watching like sort of the first wave of anime. I understand the kind of like culture behind it. I understand the fandom. I get the idea of like really being excited about a very like cool stylized anime girl. I get that. That's sort of kind of where we joined in. But Gen Z and beyond, Alpha and so on, this was a very big part of life. And a lot of animated assets, internet culture, all that kind of thing, TV shows, have things like this in them. And the idea that I would assume for younger generations, it's much easier to latch on to this as a style and as a community than I would say for an older person who's, again, one, they grew up in like cartoons are for kids. And I think it really took a lot of that sort of mid to late 90s anime style of, hey, you can make a cartoon and it can have adult themes and be for adults. And then once that cracked stuff open, suddenly it can be anything. Anything can be animated and fun, and it doesn't make it less cool or exciting or interesting just because it isn't like a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, yeah, that's I would say that's pretty spot on. Take that concept and apply it to the VTubers' parents. Sure. The talents' parents.
Sure.
There's some hilarious. So a lot of these talents have had their mothers or their parents on. There's actually some jokes of they're not in this game, but there's a talent called Narissa, who's newer, and she's the meme is she's considered a family channel because she has like her sisters and her mother, and they actually draw a lot of fan art of their moms and their family members, and they have like these concepts of how they would look like when you take the main talent's like look. So there's a lot of really cool things and some funny interactions. There was like, for example, I brought up Pecora's mom. Pecora's mom nearly broke the internet. There was like close to 200,000 people watching her stream because when she first came on stream, I'll tell you the story. with her. This is a fun story.
Okay.
Where she didn't tell her parents what she was doing at all until she hit 1 million subscribers. And then on her 1 million subscriber stream, she brought her mom on and told her what she does. And they loved it so much that about 2 years later, actually like last year, they gave her a full-blown VTuber model.
That's very cute.
And when I tell you the fan art that came out of that stream. So the meme is like, wait, why are you guys so excited to see my mom? Why you guys not here for me? That's like a big meme and stuff. So there's a lot of like, think of that and kind of apply it to like the talent. Some of them have pretty interesting stories on how they broke the news to their parents that they're like a virtual anime girl on the internet. And they have some pretty funny stories. So it applies to a lot of people. So yeah, it depends on like, I guess kind of how you see things.
Right, yeah, it's
like
all
if you're like a boomer.
Yeah. You're going to be like, exactly. I don't know what this is. Just knowing my parents, when they found out what I do, they were confused. And all it is me talking to people. They're like, well, wait, but what do you do? And how do you earn a living? And eventually, I think they just stopped caring because they're like, well, you haven't come to us asking for money, so I feel like you're fine. And that was, they're like, we're okay with it. After that, like, whatever. You haven't bugged us, so you must be doing something right. And they just let it go. But I definitely feel like in the back of their mind, just like I know my dad is just like, I don't get it, but he's not on the streets, so I guess it's fine. Like, they...
Yeah, you know? Exactly. It's like, I don't get it, but as long as you pay the bills, I'm okay with it, you know? Yeah. Like that type of thing.
And I think that's kind of the attitude that a lot of people have when it comes to VTubing in general. It's like, I don't get it, but like... all right, you know? And once you start to get into that space and understand, it's no different than any other person that you're interested in, any other fandom you're a part of. You're just part of a great community and you get to experience that with other people.
I will always say that there's no crazier fandom than the sports fandom. I'm just saying.
Sure.
Those guys are insane, so nothing will surprise me. So going back to HoloCure, which one of the, we're kind of going into like what characters you think are like interesting as to how they play or interesting as to how they look. And I can kind of tell you a little bit about that VTuber and where these references come from.
Sure. I am very curious. There is that right dead center almost immediately is, and here's the thing. I like that she stands out because after a while, the same face, just different eyes, because, you know, it's a little box. So you don't get a lot. The zombie girl. What is her deal? I love this. Because here's the thing. Charge rifle, path of sincere. I don't know what any of that means, along with half my face is dead or what. What is going on here?
I'm so glad you picked her because she is quite. I'm friends with her. She's such a great. So her name is Kureiji Ollie. Do you know the entendre of her name?
No, not at all.
Say her first name.
Kureiji.
What does that sound like to you?
I don't know. Kureiji.
Kureiji.
Oh, crazy?
Okay. Kureiji Ollie. That's her. That's the play on words with that. And a lot of them you'll see, like, there's a lot of, like, play on words, either in Japanese or just anything else. Like, for example, Kiryu Koko. Who do you, have you ever played the Yakuza series?
Yes.
This is literally the Yakuza girl. Like, that was her whole thing.
Amazing. Amazing.
There's a lot of other things. But anyways, so Ollie, in particular, she is, oh my God. So she's from Hololive Indonesia, Generation 2. And I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think she was the first Hololive Indonesia VTuber to reach 1 million.
Wow.
I think she was the first one or the second one. I don't remember. But she speaks 3 different languages. She speaks English, Japanese, and Indonesian. She's obviously Indonesian. Her lore gets explained like her debut and stuff, and ever since then, and the lore, all her lore explains that she's a zombie.
Sure.
She used to be a girl called Sally, and now she's Ollie. She's got reincarnated. She did a really fun debut that was Kureiji. That's her little like saying. So when it comes to her moveset and stuff, The sword obviously is the sword that's impaling her head.
Is that what that's supposed to be? That's so funny.
Yes, so she has a sword impaling her head. So the sword that's impaling her head, that's what she uses to swing around. The charge rifle. All right, let me explain this. The charge rifle comes from an addiction she had to Apex Legends.
Really?
She had a crazy addiction to Apex Legends, and she loved the game. She also loved the charge rifle in Apex Legends. And there was a line that she said that a lot of people will quote to this day, is that she would say things like,
"Hey, I peed like a charge rifle."
It just kind of starts off and it just poof. So that was like a big old meme in her community, and that became her ultimate. So to give you a little bit of a backstory to kind of finish off with Ollie here. She is probably one of the most, I'll just say, have you heard of the term simp?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
So she is the biggest simp of all time.
For
she
what
loves
or who?
Every woman in Hololive.
Amazing.
All of them.
Amazing.
She says, "You're my wife." She has a heart. Actually, I've talked to her. She included my fiance as her wife too. She just acquires wives. She loves women. She loves, she's crazy for them.
Let me ask you a question then. As a follow-up to a conversation with you, would like, if I want to do, say, a Geekenders episode where I brought in someone from Hololive, would this be because as someone who's really into all the other Hololive people on like a I love them level, would this be a person to talk to?
Yeah, unironically, yeah, I would actually. This is because she speaks Japanese, English, and Indonesian, so she literally speaks the three main languages of Hololive.
So she can enjoy all of the different creators.
She can, because that's a big thing. I mean, the English girls, the Hololive EN girls, they definitely try their best to learn Japanese, and they have, like, recently they did a huge roleplay server in Grand Theft Auto, and they had all sorts of all of them, Indonesia, Japan, device, and English, and they were all interacting with each other.
Oh, that's
it was
cute.
great because it's awesome. That's another wild event that, anyways. So yeah, she basically can sneak into every single branch and, get in there. But she has a very vibrant personality, very, very energetic. That's why she's called Kureiji. So, like, she seems like she is drinking coffee 24/7.
Amazing.
That's kind of how she is. Her laughter is like incredibly contagious, super fun, and she just loves. She loves women. She loves the ladies. She simps for every single woman.
Yeah, no, I mean,
that's how it is.
Same wavelength. I understand.
Yeah, she basically, you know how sometimes, like, to the point where sometimes you're like, oh my God, Ollie. Because, there's like a line as a fan and as an admirer of the other girls that you're like, okay, I won't cross this line. There's a little too much. Ollie will step over that all day, every day. All right. I'm talking like, not like obscene, but it's still tasteful, but it's still like, it's very Ollie. That's what you end up saying. Like, she says something, it's like, that's very Ollie of hers to say.
I'm here for it. I mean this. There might be a Kureiji Ollie episode in the future of Geekenders. I'm very excited.
Any other ones that you want to know about?
Well, I'm curious about the ones that aren't in the game. Besides Holostars, which are the guys. Are there any of the Hololive characters that just aren't in it yet that could potentially be in it later that would be fun to look at?
From the main branch of Hololive, you have the majority of them. He's done so well. His name is Kay. That's the developer's name. And he's basically implemented everyone from the main branch except for one generation, and that is HoloX or Holox. And the main reason why is, and this is kind of like a little bit more elaborate, but he made a separate game that includes just the HoloX or the Holox girls. So this is Laplace right here. She is what's called a Kusogaki. She's a short little rascal, and she's got a personality of a gremlin.
Love that.
Then you have Louis, and the whole theme of this generation, I would say, is so they're a secret society, So they have like an underground society. So like, for example, the mastermind is Laplas. She established that's the lore of the generation. Then you have Louis, who is the kind of like the officer. You know how it's like an executive office in the United States. That's kind of like what her job is. And then you have Coyote, who is in charge of primarily like she's a smarty pants.
Sure.
That's kind of like her role in the lore. Then you have Chloe, which actually has graduated recently. I'm talking like within a month.
Wow.
She graduated, and she was great. She was awesome. She's like an orca type of people love Chloe. She had a mask on. I don't know if they have. Oh, they also have different outfits. I don't know if you knew this. The different outfits similar to HoloCure. It's referring to the real outfits that they have. So like for example, if we go to like Amelia, she probably has a bunch of outfits, and a lot of them, all the outfits that they have for their models are in the game.
Yeah, I saw Louis, for example. I think had the outfit in the image, but also then one there in the video.
Yeah, so this is okay. All of them have an idol outfit.
Right.
All of them. So they have that. They have their regular casual, or not, but just their VTuber outfit, and then there's the ones they do at lives in the 3D, which is their idol ones. And they also make a big thing whenever there's a new outfit for them. They debut. There's tens of thousands of people.
Yes, I am very aware. I've watched. Watch is a relative term. Seen on social media the hype for an outfit reveal.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then the last one is Iroha. She's like a samurai girl, which is cool. She kind of like she's got a sword. She's very, very cute, very intimidating, but you know, she's adorable. She's like a samurai. So those are the characters that are not in Hololive yet. Am I going crazy? Okay. There's 2 gens. Okay, so the most recent update that came out included 2 gens. Gen 3, which is these 4 right here.
Right.
And then Gen 5, which is these 5 right here. I'm sorry, Gen 4. Oh my God. Gen 3 and Gen 4. My God, I'm so sorry. My brain. My brain. But yeah, so Gen 3 and Gen 4 debuted in the most recent patch. That's Gen 3 is Pecora, Marin, Noel, and Flare. And then Gen 4 is Coco, Kanata, Toa, Watame, and Luna. And then Gen 5 is not in the game yet, but that's the next one that I imagine he's working on. And that's these 4. That's Lami. And then you have Nene. Nene is adorable. I really like Nene. She calls everyone her husbands.
Cute.
Yeah. So, and sometimes when they unsubscribe or something, it's like I have to get a divorce from Nene, and she gets really sad and really cute. and then they feel bad, and then they resubscribe again, and then she gets all happy.
Now that is a plan. Yeah. I should do that. Like, oh, guys, we're getting divorced.
Yeah.
Don't know if it worked the same,
Exactly.
but I can try.
And then you have Botan. Botan's very popular. She is a gamer. When she first debuted, she played Call of Duty, and she started frying people.
Nice.
Botan, and I think it was either Miko, which is up here. Miko, they were playing Resident Evil 7 or 8, I feel like. And there's a mission there where you have to shoot like 5 different points to open a door.
Sure.
And one of them was like, slowly like aiming, bam, 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 and trying to open it. And Botan just went, dun, 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 done.
Amazing.
And then the last one is Polka, which is she's quite a talented
jester.
This is the one
character.
Yeah, she's a clown.
Gotcha.
That's her personality. She is super funny, voice range out the wazoo. She could be a voice actress for sure. She's a riot. She's a hoot.
So what is the Gen 5 theming here then?
Usually when it comes to the generations, there really wasn't any theming up until like the EN, like English, as well as there is like a themed generation in the Japanese branch, which is called Gamers, and also I guess 3rd gen as well is they tried to kind of like test, like pilot it, calling it Hololive Fantasy, but people usually just do like 3rd gen,
gotcha.
Right? But the fantasy is like it's a bunny girl, it's an elf, it's like a knight and a pirate. And there was a necromancer, but she graduated or got terminated. I'm sorry. English is usually very themed. Japan, the Japanese branch, usually it's not super themed.
Okay.
Until you get to specific ones like Gamers. Those are the ones that aren't in from the JP side. There is also a English side that we still have yet to see. And you might have heard of some of them. I'm not sure. We'll see. Depends on how big their reach is and how big if they got to you. So far we have Myth, right? The ones that you're pretty familiar with Myth.
Yes.
Then you have Iris, which debuted as like a single entity called Hope, Hololive Hope. And then came Council, which is right now these three. Two of them have graduated, which is Sana and Fauna. These two were part of second generation, and now there's only three.
No, so when we're talking generations, I guess my question would be, what is the timetable for this? So when they release a generation, between generations, how long is it usually? And, going back to that, Gen 2 English, how long before a graduation? Or is it just whenever the hell they feel like it?
Yeah, so graduations are very much out of the blue. People get freaked out, and people get very, very, very sad.
So, based on the list that we have right now, where, like, Calliope, for example, when did she start?
She started, Gen 1 debuted in 2020, late 2020.
Wow. Okay.
Late 2020, so they've been going strong.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, I think because I see so much of them in memes and culture and stuff online, that my assumption is they've been around a lot longer, but really, it's kind of during that COVID period where a lot of brand new streamers appeared, or TikTokers, or, whatever. There was, people were like, I got nothing to do, so I might as well do something, and this appears to be kind of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When it comes to the Hololive talents and like VTubers in general, it definitely 100% blew up like crazy in 2020. Right. That's when I came into the rabbit hole. That's when I started. I remember a time period before Myth. Now I see people that don't even know what it was like to not have Myth.
Sure.
There's some people coming in that came in like after certain people debuted, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old. Oh God, I've been here so long. What's going on here?
And hilariously, so long equals 4 years. Or 5 now. But I think it's very funny that, like, internet culture-wise, that's a long time. A lot of stuff can happen, and you can miss out on a lot of stuff. And it makes it even funnier is when you think back to, when I was just doing my internet journey, which would have been 2001. I can't even imagine trying to explain what was going on then to people. Yeah, I'm always open to learning new things about what's happening now in internet culture, because honestly, it really, at the end of the day, is not really that different than what it was way back when. It's just a different form of it.
Yeah, exactly. They've been around since 2020. I think the most recent EN one, Holo Justice, which is these four, and they're actually correlated with the previous one before that. So Gen 2, or Holo Console, well, I guess they're called Holo Promise now. Okay, I don't want to confuse you too much, but they basically merged the single one that debuted with the Council, the Gen 2. So now she's technically part of Gen 2. So
awesome.
But anyways, Generation 3, just to keep this simple. Generation 3 debuted, and this was a big one because it included a pair that kind of innovated the VTubing space in a way that made it popular.
Interesting.
So you have these three. They're not in there yet. The Shiori Novella. Okay, what they are is they're criminals. They are like an organization where they kind of just do underground stuff, and they're on the run.
Okay.
Constantly. This is Koseki Biju. Just to give you a little bit of a personality, like brief one. She's a book nerd. She's great. A lot of people thought she was gonna be like I can't remember what the term is, but it's basically like a mentally unwell type girl.
Is it
like I can fix her type of thing?
Sure. So like, what is that? Boy, I'm not good at this. Yandere?
No, I don't think it's Yandere. It's another one. I can't remember what it is. It's one of them. But turns out that she's like super smart. She's a book nerd, and she's called the Archiver.
Gotcha.
She knows a lot about the VTubing history. Biju, she is a rock. Literally. And she transforms into this like magical rock girl. She is a gamer. She has beaten Elden Ring I don't know how many times. And she also is, man, when I tell you Brain Rot City. Do you know I remember there was a meme. I don't even know it anymore because this one's so prevalent now. The Hololive version is. It's like,
the kid on your get for the
Whistler. That's right.
You know that one? No?
No.
No? I'm so jealous. You have no idea how, like, you're so adorable that you're sheltered like that.
To give you an example, when people talked about Skibbity, for example,
oh god,
in my mind, I'm thinking of the dude who shakes his belly and serves meat, and they're like, no, we're talking about a whole other thing. And I'm like, but isn't it that dude? And they're like, no. He might have started that, but it's entirely. So I'm like a little behind on things.
So just think of it as she takes current brain rot and she hololive-fies it.
Sticking out your gap for no razor. You're so bow. You're so bewitized. I just want.
Gotcha.
And now the whole community kind of shares it. And some of them, it's very 50-50. Some of them embrace it. Some of them are like, no, stop. Basically, the Gen Zers are like, yeah, let's go, stick in how you're getting. They do a bunch of stuff like that. And the other half, like where I'm at, I'm like, oh God, please.
But I understand.
Make it stop.
It's you go, you create what you want, and there will be a community for it.
It's fun. She's a fun one. She's very fun. And then Nerissa, this is the one I kind of briefly went over earlier with her sisters and her mom. She is a demon of sound, so she has a beautiful singing voice. She is a beautiful singer. Hololive music is another rabbit hole entirely that you can fall down in because there's a lot of crazy stuff. But that's another one. She's great. Then you have the twins. They debuted twins. Fuamoko, they're called. This is Fuawa Bisgard.
I have seen
Mokoko.
The two of them in
You've
clips online.
definitely seen them.
Yep.
They are very popular. Since they're the most recent ones they debuted, and they are so cute together, where they are literally twins, like share one brain, that type of stuff. And they do that in a VTuber form, which just oozes cuteness and oozes like a lot of creativity when it comes to a lot of the collaborations they're a part of. One of the cutest ones I've seen, I mean, like I mentioned like the roleplay server that they were a part of. That was a really great one. But there's some of them where they also speak Japanese.
Sure.
They speak Japanese and English, so they are always collaborating with Holo JP girls, and the Holo JP girls love them. All right, do you want to know
please
what they're saying?
Enlighten me, yeah.
Say bow bow.
Bow bow.
There you go. You are officially a ruffian.
Yeah.
That's their fan base.
Also, I love that it's ruffian. That's so cute and like a very punny,
a ruffian.
Like dad joke kind of way. I'm here for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ruffians. And bow bow is their woof woof or their bark bark.
Right.
Then you have the most recent generation of English, which is Holo Justice. And these girls are directly trying to capture these girls.
Oh, that's cute. That's fun.
Yes. So they're trying to bring them to justice. So if there's like lore things, I think there was like a short, like visual novel, like official, like animation visual novel by Hololive. Anyways, so you have Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame, which she's very British. And it was funny because she debuted a little bit like there was a lot of memes that when the queen passed, she got isekai to being a Hololive VTuber. So there was a lot of memes like that. It's like, oh my God, the queen is back. And she has a set of pipes on her. She also, this is what's really unique about her, she does impressions.
Oh boy.
Of a ton of different VTubers.
That's fun.
And her debut, she actually did an impression of Kiara and Callie and a bunch of other ones. And she can do every VTuber on the spec. Her vocal range is so insane that her impressions, she does karaoke streams all the time.
That's awesome.
But her impressions are insanity. Gigi, you know how I mentioned like the other girl, Laplace, was like a gremlin? Yeah, so this girl is like a gremlin times 2.
Oh boy.
So to give you an example of what she did an 8-hour stream on the 21st of September, singing the 21st of September by Earth, Wind, and Fire for 8 hours straight.
That is madness, but I appreciate it. It's good madness.
Yeah, she's chaotic as hell. She actually won, so there was a VTuber Awards this year, and she won the most chaotic VTuber award. Then you have Cecilia. Immergreen. She's German. And I like her concept a lot because she is an automaton.
I see that.
Yeah, she's like a doll, and she has her dress that's like a musical note. And she has she plays the violin. This is a violin lance. If she ever were to get into HoloCure, I 100% would say something with a lance would be cool. Right. Oh yeah, you see these fists? So she's called the Fister.
Of course. Why not?
That's the first thing that she said that she wanted to be called. So the Fister. And then you have Laura Pantora. She's a panther girl. She does incredible art, and she's Italian. So she has a thick Italian accent.
Interesting.
People love Laura. People love her. She has, every time, I say this every time, but she has like, do you know what a nonna is?
I would assume that would be sort of like your grandmother.
Yeah. She has like a nonna type aura to her where she's caring, she's really cute, but she also has like, she can laugh at certain things that usually like your grandma would laugh at because they're so ridiculous and stuff. So yeah, she has that vibe. She's an amazing artist, and she's Italian. She's an Italian that likes fries on her pizza.
Somewhere Italians are like, no.
Oh, dude, it was a big thing. We don't need to get into that again. There's a British person that doesn't like tea, a German that doesn't like coffee, and an Italian that that has pizza on her fries on her pizza.
Honestly, great character stuff right there.
Right?
I'm super interested. You've got me really thinking that I need to interview a Hololive member just because I would love to learn the background and thought process that goes into making the backstory, the character, but more importantly, the look. Like some of these are very fantastical, very out there. I wonder how many versions they go through, or what the conversations are in the creation process, or if it's based on things that are already in your personality, or if it's, just like if I was playing D&D and I wanted to be Grubthack the Deballer, and I was like, well, I'm a hobgoblin, and I have to like make a whole thing up, or would I create something that is very similar to who I am as a person? I'm so curious about all the steps that go into this, because it seems like a lot of work.
There is a lot of VTubers that will definitely do that. I will say that usually with agency VTubers, because there's like independent and there's agency, usually the agency ones won't break too much character.
Gotcha.
With going into like the background of thought I mean, I'm sure there might be some, but I would say the general consensus is just like they just want to have a good time. Usually, I will say this is they definitely bake a lot of stuff into their personality. And you won't understand that fully until you go to see what they have to offer.
Sure. So, I mean, I guess
that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, I guess then at the end of the day, the idea here is that you shouldn't view a character from HoloCure or any of the other Hololive talent that haven't made it into the game yet. You shouldn't view them as a person portraying a character in that world as a streamer, but more as this is a person and you are interacting with that person. Kind of like how if you have a puppet, you should be talking to the puppet, not the person with their hand in the puppet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you just have to interact with them, but with their character, but just know that that they are their character.
Right. In the scenario if I were to invite Ollie on to Geekenders, for example, it wouldn't be, hey, I'm talking to the person playing Ollie. It's Ollie's on Geekender.
Yes, correct.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Interesting.
You just have to talk to Ollie.
Right.
That's them. That's their personality. That's how everyone sees them.
Right.
Too.
I wouldn't invite
they're great for it.
Kermit the Frog on and then be like, I want to talk to the guy. Like, Kermit, what's it like having that hand up? That wouldn't be the thing to say.
Exactly.
Understood.
Yeah,
Understood. Okay. All right.
But you can. There are some VTubers independent. I can tell you some VTubers that are really good with that. For example, have you ever heard of Shy Lily?
Yes.
Shy Lily is a great one to have on for sure. There's a bunch of VShoujo, which is another agency, mostly in the West, like Iron Mouse. Iron Mouse is a part of VShoujo. That would be really good for that. The Hololive one, definitely they might. Definitely just talk to them as like the character.
Honestly, I'm down for that. I like. I was saying this during the Game Awards. Having Muppets come on and roast Jeff Keighley is one of my favorite things in the world, and that's not like.
Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, it's great. Watching those two guys be like, "Oh, Jeff, you suck," was great. Love that. So I'm down to have a crazy Ollie come on and get wacky. I think that'd be super fun. I just want to be respectful and not be like, so what's it like being this character? Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to be like, hey, thank you for coming on. I know you're busy being crazy. You know, that kind of stuff is a whole different vibe.
Exactly.
Understood.
Dude, you got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people, I mean, these are characters. These are
Right.
that they're playing, but at the same time, there are people playing these characters that bake their entire personality into that character. What makes them that character is the person, but, you know, under a different persona.
Right. If they want to be out of character, they would do that on purpose. Not, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It very much, again,
You got
back
it.
to D&D. You're like, hey, out of character real quick. Here's my question about this scene, and I'm curious what I should roll here versus being in character. I completely understand. I get it now.
You got it.
Awesome.
That's exactly what it is.
Awesome.
And then they take that and they make them into characters in HoloCure.
Yeah. And then here we are. I'm amazed that playing this one game got me, like, I feel like I am a tiptoe in the rabbit hole. I don't think I've dived in nearly enough, but I'm already like, wow, there's so much.
That's usually how this rabbit hole works. You start off with something like this and you're like, oh, okay, let me check out their channel. And then you're like, oh, I kind of like them. And then YouTube starts recommending clips of them.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden it's all downhill from there.
What's hilarious about this to me is that you asking who I like, it is clearly based off of one appearance and two abilities in a video game. I don't know what a single one of these people sound like. I don't know their, personalities. I don't know how they interact with the community. I don't know what games they play. Like, I know nothing about any of them aside from I like the way that one looks and I like that one's abilities. That's it. And so that is so surface level. It's really funny to me now that I think about it. Because, when you talk about, like, she's a gremlin, in my mind, I think I know what that's going to sound like or what that's going to be. But I don't know really.
Level,
I don't know what I would enjoy. I haven't really, again, I'm just like a toe in this pool. And, this is just testing the waters, really, when you think about it. I've learned a lot, but really, truly, this is the beginning of a journey.
Yes. Take your toe out before you get too deep. They're gonna pull you in,
There's sharks in there, I hear. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is. So there's a lot of stuff to this. And that's what makes it hard compared to like other games where there's like a definitive and beginning and an end. But when it comes to like this, there's so much endless stuff that it's really hard to really get into. Like, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people that say that, oh, we didn't go into nearly as much stuff. But I think we covered a really good basis, especially because you're literally a white page. You are a blank canvas. And this is like a good primer to be able to understand where people are coming from when they like the Hololive community, for example.
Yeah, if anything, I am more interested than I've ever been. And I now know more than I did before, and I feel like this is a great starting point. Co, thank you. This was a really great conversation. I loved this.
Did you? I'm happy. I'm glad.
Yeah. I learned way more than I thought was even possible on a journey into a world that I'm certainly not a part of, but I'm interested in and sort of peering in through the window and be like, what's going on over there? What y'all doing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm glad you were able to understand some things. And I'm glad you were interested because, it takes a lot for somebody to be interested in this like kind of thing. Because at first, I mean, people refer to my old video. So when I first started doing this, I was a fighting game content creator. And then when I started to get into VTuber stuff, I uploaded some videos and it was me peering from outside the hole, just looking at this, and it was very strange. People still refer back to those videos as like a person that just dives into it. It's a series of 21 videos. I call it a diary of a sympathician.
Amazing. And
people still refer to that as like one of the stepping stones into like, oh, wait a minute, what is this? And then they also fall in. So it's now everything is so much different than it used to be.
Right.
Everything is so much more broad and immersive, and it's very, very, very cool that you were at least interested in learning about it, and even if it is at a surface level, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I am a big fan of learning about things I simply don't understand. I mean, that's the whole point of this show. There's a lot I don't understand, and rather than, poo-poo it or ignore it, I'd love to learn about it. I think that's the whole... Why even be around if you ain't learned something new? I feel like that's the whole point. And so, having this conversation with you opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know before, and now I feel like I'm ready to learn even more and deep dive certain things as, maybe this is the start of, all right, I'll tune into a stream. We'll see what's going on. Or I will look into the backstory of characters and get a little deeper into who this person is, what their vibe is. But honestly, really at the end of the day, it's learning about how each one of them is different in their own special, unique way. They have their own fandoms and their own ways of doing things. And then when they come together, I'm sure complete chaos erupts, which would be hilarious. And I understand why people love it.
Yep, that's exactly why.